The big surprise. The surprise that Tony Khan has been teasing for many, many weeks now has a date of reveal. Today, Tony Khan on Busted Open Radio revealed that he thinks he has a date for this big announcement he's been teasing. Plus, more backstage news on Cesaro's WWE exit. What really happened? We have the scoop for you. Plus, WWE announces the main events for WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2, and we got more Cody Rhodes update. It's a Freestyle Friday edition of the Top Story. Make sure you hit that like. Here we go.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
It's Friday afternoon. You know what time it is. It's time for Freestyle Friday Top Story. And you guys, we got tons of headlines for you today. It's Jeremy Bennett. It's Jose G coming at you live here on Sportskeeda Wrestling. Thank you for joining as always. It's Freestyle Friday, guys. So as always, make sure you get your questions, your comments in, sound off in the comment section right now. We're going to spend the last 10 minutes of the show diving into your questions and your comments. What's up, Jeremy? Happy Friday to you, broski.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The news keeps on dropping here, and so do the appearances keep on appearing. Next week we got Swerve, probably next week after that might have Jeff Hardy. It's insane. This is a crazy time in pro wrestling.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a great time. Well, let's jump right into the headlines. As always, guys, make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing. Smash that notification bell on our YouTube page. We're well over 26,000. And yes, we are back up and running. So thank you guys for the love and support. We really appreciate it. If you're watching on Facebook right now, make sure you share in your favorite wrestling group. Tag your friends in the comment section so they can join in on the conversation. All right. And just have fun with it. Make sure you keep it nice in the comment section. Here we go, guys. Let's jump into our first headline of the day, our top story. Tony Khan, he reveals the big date of the big announcement he's been teasing for several weeks. He had a recent interview on Busted Open Radio where he admitted he's been teasing now for weeks, but he gave us a little bit more of information regarding that big announcement. What's the scoop here, Jeremy?
Tony Khan has said that he's going to kind of announce announce this Wednesday on Dynamite what is the big thing that he is promising. He hasn't really got into much detail in regards to what this is going to be, but he has confirmed that it is not a talent acquisition or anything like that, and he had mentioned that there's an NDA involved, and which just makes it even more interesting on what this huge thing is going to be. So it's not a debut of somebody, but we do expect, I believe we expect Shane Strickland to debut on Wednesday, so that's going to happen. But this has nothing to do with it; it's separate. He says there's NDAs involved in everything. The only thing I can think of when it comes to this big announcement is that Tony might have struck another television deal for another show. Maybe AEW is going to start like an NXT type of deal, and just because of all the acquisitions, all the talent they've acquired in the past year, maybe I wouldn't think an expansion of Rampage would have an NDA on it, but maybe there's an announcement. Maybe they're because you had Cody had the Nightmare Factory, and a lot of people were coming up from them. Now that Cody's gone, maybe Tony's announcing a television deal and a secondary brand. I don't know. It's weird because
Here's the one I want.
It's
Supersonic texting in
that too. Yeah, let's get rid of BR Live and let's do that.
That'd be great. That would be awesome if we could finally get AEW on HBO Max. We've been saying this for months, Kevin, where this is something they really need to start capitalizing on. And if this is the big announcement, that is a big deal.
And that could carry NDAs with it too.
That would be a massive. It would carry an NDA with it. I've worked with companies that have done things like this that are with a streaming deal, or I remember the years I've worked in radio. There was bands that were doing something like they were doing anything with the Netflix. They couldn't say anything until they did it. Like I remember working with the band Greta Van Fleet. They were going to be on Saturday Night Live.
Love Greta Van Fleet.
They
Love
knew
those guys.
for they're playing Vegas tonight. They knew for a long time that they were going to do it, but we could bring it up in an interview, but they said they couldn't say anything about it. Like like we're not telling you no. So I mean, especially with these entertainment ones, how these things are announced are very, very key. The fact that there's an NDA makes me think that there's a major partner involved. This doesn't make me think that it's a talent acquisition, especially if it's a game changing.
He already specifically said it's not talent. It's not talent related.
I mean, but it's easier to break down when you look at the NDA thing. I mean, if it was a talent thing, I think with the way they've acted, they kind of don't care if it gets out beforehand because build momentum for our show, right? With this, you're dealing with a partner. It makes me think it's some type of media deal.
Yeah,
it's some type of media deal that further expands their content and distributes it.
I wonder if it's also a situation where they might be putting that second brand to compete. I mean, this is just me speculating 100%, right?
We're just guessing now at this point.
Exactly. But what if this second brand is going to compete directly with one of the WWE shows to show that, listen, we are here. You need to take us serious now, and now we're gonna put more fuel in the fire.
Imagine the balls on Tony to create an NXT like brand and have it on Tuesdays. Just imagine the balls on Tony for that.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I doubt it at this point. And
I just wonder because maybe is the Nightmare Factory still going to be involved? It is. I don't know. It's not. QT does a lot of that stuff too. So, the fact that the Nightmare Factory is still part of could be still a part of AEW. If not, maybe Tony's starting his own developmental type of deal like FCW did, which turned into NXT. Maybe Tony's starting that. But the only thing that NDA would have to be is like what Kevin said, media related. So,
or a major merchandise deal, something different like that too.
Yeah.
So George Watson.
Washington. Wow, George Washington's in the house.
I jumped to a conclusion there.
What about Alexander Hamilton?
George texting in here saying if he was smart, I assume he mentions AEW here. Tony Khan, AEW, would partner with a streaming service to allow for an affordable pay-per-view and watch viewership skyrocket.
Yeah, but did you see the news today, George? The last pay-per-view did over 200,000 buys and brought AEW $10 million of revenue. So they are selling pay-per-views at that $50 price.
That doesn't stop them from getting on a streaming service. In that regard, something that does not stop them from getting on a streaming service.
It doesn't make them speed it up though either.
No,
but the chances are if they got a streaming service, the contract or the deal is probably going to be very lucrative for them. So
or they have their own, or they're launching their own. Yeah. Or they're launching their own deal where it's
I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them if they did something like
that. HBO Max doesn't have a live component on it, does it?
No, they don't. But but the thing is, get them on HBO Max in the sense of more people get to see it. So you get the rub of your brand. AEW is under the Time Warner banner, and you're next to DC superheroes and HBO shows, and HBO is that stamp of approval.
And John Cena.
It is PG-13 blockbuster talent. Like that's what you are, and to have that rub would be huge. That is something people have wanted for them since they ever got in bed with Time Warner. I think it's the way everyone wants this to go, but maybe it's with Netflix. Maybe it's their own Patreon. Maybe it's their own, it could be a lot of different things. Possibly it's something with the video game. So
what if AEW is getting into the NFT game? Oh, this secondary brand is only available in the NFT space realm.
If they go that route,
I won't be watching it then.
If they go that route, dude. If they go that route where it's like we have a weekly show, but you're gonna, you can only get it if you have these keys to get into it but mind you, what's the difference between that and like a Patreon show or something like that too?
Video
you
game
need a password to get into that account, right? It's just the same thing.
I mean there's NDAs associated with video games. I know that much when all my time I've worked with EA Sports, but I mean, we already know the game exists. We already know where they're at in development. So there's not really anything that would be under an NDA for the video game, I don't think.
It could be something in the sense of where the game is distributed or where you're getting the game, or maybe they've locked some huge deal.
Maybe there's a release date, but I wouldn't have an NDA with it either. I mean, Tony could just say that right now. He wouldn't
Mhm.
save that for a Dynamite.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Well, guys,
Or there's this. They're announcing a massive live event. We already know they're doing
maybe it's
Double
a
or
stadium
Nothing.
show. Maybe it's a
Yes.
stadium show.
That was something before Cody left that he alluded to, that they wanted to play some big places that they hadn't played yet. I know from sources in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area that there was some talk about Miller Park, which is the home of the Milwaukee Brewers. So that would have been a big one. That would have been a game changer. That would have been an industry-wide changing statement. And at that scale, I think you would want to keep that quiet because you're working with a major partner in a major building, So a lot of speculation to get into. Let's get into topic number 2. Didn't mean to hold you up, boys.
Now we got an update here, a backstage update on Cesaro. If you guys did not know, Cesaro left the WWE yesterday. We covered it extensively here. You guys did here on the top story, and we have a little bit more of a backstage understanding on what kind of happened between Cesaro and WWE. What's the scoop here, Jeremy?
This was reported by Mr. Uncle Dave at the Wrestling Observer.
Mr. Uncle Dave. He's become both Uncle Dave
and
Mr. Dave, Big Papa Dave.
Big Papa Dave, that Cesaro was not offered the same amount of money to the likes of AJ Styles, which we reported $3 million, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn when they signed their new contracts. Additionally, Dave is saying Cesaro's departure is said to be more of a WWE decision than a Cesaro decision. While he wasn't looking to leave WWE, the company made him an offer that he didn't agree with, and so that is it. And then there's also Dave mentions there's no word if he's in talks with AEW, but as noted, he has no 90-day compete clause because it's just simply his contract ran out, so he can show up on Rampage. Why didn't
they offer them that money though? That's my thing. Like, the guy is such a tremendous talent, and okay, like I'm gonna take Sami Zayn for example. Like the latter guys that we mentioned, AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, those guys are former world champions. You guys can put them in any top spot and they'll do great. Same thing with Sami Zayn, but Sami Zayn hasn't been a world champion. So why is Sami Zayn getting all this money and Cesaro couldn't get that money when he has proven time and time again that he can be in the top spot and he can be a main eventer?
Well, talking about Sami Zayn specifically, I wonder if they didn't satisfy Sami Zayn's wishes, Kevin Owens might have left too. And so that's probably why they gave Sami the deal, is because if they didn't, KO probably would have walked as well. And you know very well where both of those guys would have headed to.
Well, I also think it's another part of they understand established characters at one point, where you are right when that deal comes up. If this deal came up in the summer and Cesaro's coming off that big match with Roman Reigns, is that number different? Is that momentum more on his side to get a better deal? And at that point, he still had a lot of time left on the deal.
Why was that extension only 1 year?
That's part of who knows. We know that a lot of deals were rearranged in the pandemic early on. The WWE changed those deals. Like Owens' deal originally would have had him locked. His prior deal, not the one he just recently signed a few months ago, would have had him locked into 2023.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of a competitive market. It's smarter for WWE to change those deals long term, and then also to be able to negotiate and have leverage at the right time. If this deal came up when we were talking about him potentially beating Roman Reigns, he had a banger of Roman Reigns, he had a big match. That wasn't that long ago. That's like nearly a year ago. This guy was main eventing with the biggest star of the company, and now he's out of the company.
But
so it's still a blow to WWE. If you're a WWE fan, you're losing a hot hand here. But if you're Cesaro, it's a different market. Like if AEW wasn't there, you knew you can play the market differently. Also, the independents are coming back. If he doesn't want to even go to All Elite Wrestling, this is a guy who could make top dollar on the independents.
Speaking of AEW, Kevin, there was a tweet that Eddie Kingston put out. Cesaro doesn't have the balls to come on over to AEW. They had a pretty long, extensive feud back in Shikara.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the ball. I don't know, man.
Kevin and I talked about it last night. Kev needs to talk to that brass at AEW and get a Cesaro Josh Alexander match to sell a pay-per-view.
Oh man.
Let me tell you this. Cesaro was in WWE for 10 years, over 10 years. Vince just did not see him as a star because how many singles championships do you think Cesaro held in total over those 10 years? Well, Jose knows. One. He held the United States Championship once, and that's it.
He's a great tag team guy, multi-time tag team champion, but
surprising he
only
never won. He
one
never won the
singles
Intercontinental title. He never won the
Just
IC title either.
States. And
That's
that's when
Seven-time
he
tag
came
champ.
in under the Antonio Cesaro gimmick back when he spoke multiple languages. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh yeah. With Oksana.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my light almost fell down.
Kevin got so excited about Oksana, he's just knocking shit over here.
Yeah.
Speaking of excitement and Kevin getting excited, guys, are you excited for the main events of WrestleMania night one?
First, I thought you were talking about I thought you were talking about the TV show main event. Nobody gets excited for that anymore.
That's where Veer wrestles.
Unless Veer's on. Yeah.
Veer's on main event. But today we got to find out what the main events for night one and night two of WrestleMania are going to be. It has been reported that Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar will be main eventing night two, and Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair will be main eventing night one. You want to take some thoughts on this, guys? Because you got Becky Lynch and Belair for the Raw Women's Championship, and they're not main eventing.
I don't think this is a surprise. I don't think this is really.
Did I read that? Did I read that correctly? That those are the last matches on both nights.
Yeah, those are going to be the main events for both nights.
I'm okay with that. I still think we're going to get this Stone Cold Steve Austin attraction.
What?
But that's going to be sold as a special attraction. That isn't going to be sold as the main event.
Yeah, I think it could be a show closer.
But it's going to be something that once you hear about it, fans are going to want to be on board with it, or it's going to be a surprise.
And
so
plus,
part of me thinks they're not going to say anything about that. And maybe if the ticket sales are right, if they feel they need to, they'll pull the trigger beforehand.
With that, or just KO just starts talking trash about Texas on the mic, and then all of a sudden glass breaks. and then we got a referee. But I mean, Ronda's been away from the WWE for about 3 years now, so it's no surprise that she's going to main event her return to pay-per-view, basically outside of obviously the Royal Rumble, but her singles return to pay-per-view for the first time in 3 years. So it's no surprise that they're main eventing Saturday.
Let's see what fans are thinking here. We got some people that are into it, some people not so much. Queen Monet saying, not all Ronda versus Charlotte doesn't interest me at all. I know they are big names, but there's just nothing intriguing. Brock versus Roman scares me because apparently it's now unification. Yep. I don't know if that's a unification match. To be clear,
they changed the original graphic that posted Saturday just said champion versus champion.
Yes,
they corrected it on Monday Night Raw saying winner take all.
Yeah, so to be clear with unification, that means one title gets consumed by another. Okay, winner take all could mean both titles are on the line.
It won't be unified. No.
I don't think it's going to be unified at
all. If Roman wins, he'll be on Raw. It's just like Becky 2 belts, basically.
Yeah.
She'll be on both shows, and she'll eventually lose it to someone on Raw, and then eventually lose it to someone on SmackDown.
Yeah. So
what about that tweet? That tweet that Roman put out when they announced this, and he was like, "Brock Lesnar is going to see me with 2 belts, humiliated and like beaten and battered." He's like, "Acknowledge me in God mode." But it was a great tweet. Just
was that you that came up with Roman 2 reigns?
Roman 2 reigns? I don't think so, but I kind of like.
A friend of mine came up with or mentioned. Maybe it might have been Rick. Might have been Rick Ucchino.
Queen Monet saying it says unification. They've never said unification as far as I know. She said they're saying this on their Instagram. Monet, I'm not arguing with you. This is the first I've ever heard that this title is being unified. And I read it on WWE.com. It said winner take all. That's what I saw.
Yeah, there's no word of it. There would have been a lot of mention if it was going to truly be unified and there wasn't going to be separate championships. Universal and Fox want their own championships. It's not going to ever be a unified title while there is 2 separate broadcasting companies on both shows.
Ricky saying, if Brock doesn't win, we riot.
Yeah,
pretty big riot you got on your hands.
Is Brock
he doesn't want to acknowledge him.
I love this version of Brock. It's awesome, but is Brock the guy to topple the streak? Should you have somebody else maybe do it to establish them rather than a guy that's already much like Brock shouldn't have been the guy to end Undertaker's streak. It should have been someone that could have used it, where Brock really didn't need it. So
yeah, I think it's almost dismissive though to say that, oh, this guy doesn't need it. This guy doesn't need it.
But when you got a guy that is at a 500 and near 600 day run that we've never seen in the modern era of
you're saying make somebody new on it. Make somebody new on that.
Yeah,
right?
like a Cesaro would have been if he would have beaten Reigns. Just somebody that has not been at that upper echelon, and that would just completely put him into the stratosphere. Much like if Punk or Edge would have ended up beating Taker back in the day, that would have put them in the stratosphere. Of course, they ended up getting there themselves anyways, but at the time when they took on Undertaker, they weren't quite there yet.
Guys, I just want to remind everyone that it is award season. The Oscar nominations are out. The Grammys are coming up. And it is Sportskeeda Wrestling Awards time. So you guys got to make sure you get your votes in. This is the only poll that's conducted by you guys. You guys have the full power on the results here. So the way you could do that is going back to sportskeeda.com/wrestling-awards. We have a full panel of celebrities and legends that have given us their opinions on who wins these polls. So we're going to go ahead and show you that video. Stick around. We'll be right back.
It's time for the Sportskeeda Wrestling Awards. Vote alongside these legends who I think are ready to give us their picks.
All right, suckers, give me your pick for Sportskeeda's Wrestling Awards Male Wrestler of the Year. Vince Russo, you go first.
Male wrestler? Roman Reigns, bro. Acknowledge him, bro.
Bryan Danielson, baby. He had the best deal, no doubt.
Dude, it should be Kenny Omega. He's one of a kind, just like me.
Okay, guys, forget the men. The female wrestler of the year has got to be DMD. Dr. Britt Baker, come on.
Big Time Beck deserves it after her big time comeback.
Speaking of comebacks, Brock Lesnar is back on top.
CM Punk had the best comeback, no doubt. Bang!
Yes, but MJF has him on the ropes. You know it, and they know it too.
You know, MJF is so good, you can't turn the channel.
No moment last year was bigger than
Rob Van Dam entering the Hall of Fame.
You kidding me, right?
Better
Come on, man. He doesn't know when to have
Guys, you have to make up your mind quickly. We don't have much time.
Tell me he did not just say that.
Well, we have heard from the legends, and now it's time to hear from you. Go vote now. Sportskeeda.com/wrestling-awards and vote to win exciting prizes.
So don't miss your chance. Don't miss your chance, guys, to win some awesome prizes. Get your votes in. Your voices be heard at sportskeeda.com.
And if you
wrestling-awards.
And put in the chat if you'd like to see Booker T give a scissor kick to Kev.
No! Stop asking for Booker T to scissor kick me. My head is so big. It would be so easy.
Give me some five. Put some fives in the chat.
No, stop. Do not do any fives,
Put some
guys.
Fives in the chat if you want to see Booker T scissor kick Kev. Put some fives in the chat.
The number 5 with the hand 5. 5 times.
No. I don't need my Humpty Dumpty head.
I like how his voice goes really high.
No, it's like Becky Lynch.
I don't sound like that. Guys. We don't have much time. We don't have much time.
Yeah, we got some fives in the
Friday.
chat.
Guys, it is Freestyle Friday, so make sure you sound off in the comments. Get your questions in, so we're going to be getting those in here at the end of the show. Let's jump into our last headline of the day. Cody Rhodes has been a topic that's been much discussed about within the internet wrestling community over the last few weeks, ever since his exit from AEW. A lot of speculation of Cody heading over to WWE, but we haven't really heard any update until today. Jeremy, what's the scoop here?
Fightful Select reporting that those in WWE are very specific to say if Cody Rhodes comes in and if Cody Rhodes pops up. Haven't heard anything definite or any creative plans for him as of yet. Doesn't mean that there aren't any, just that it hasn't been mentioned with those in the know. He is obviously not listed in the script for SmackDown tonight, but I guess if he was to show up tonight, he probably would not be in the script. He would probably be hidden somewhere. Wrestlers in the WWE still believe he's coming in, and in All Elite Wrestling, business as usual, as we mentioned before, it's still that way. One source indicated, though, that Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes are still on friendly terms. And sources in AEW have said that the particulars in between the relationship between those two has been pretty private. And Fightful reached out to Cody Rhodes for comment, and he says that he's a stay-at-home dad now, and that's all he said about that.
Interesting. I mean, he's not going to let it out of the bag. He's
probably got an NDA.
Wait a minute.
People signing these NDAs, man. But yeah, so I'm of the thought where, why give it away? Yeah. I don't think it's something you need right away. Is he a guy you wait to pull the trigger on right after WrestleMania? Could he be your Monday after WrestleMania surprise? It'd be a big one if they did. And it'd be a way to be like, oh, wow, this is what they're jumping off. The new season of WWE is always that night after WrestleMania, right? And that would be a perfect position for him. I think storyline-wise, that might be even better, unless they want to have him walk out at WrestleMania itself. You have 2 nights of it. You can pull that trigger. I'm still on the leaning side that he's going to WWE, that the money is there. It's a big money deal. It's worth it. He comes in a way bigger star than when he even went into the company, when he was just Cody, when he was just Dusty Rhodes' son, and we're going to train you and develop you and make you a star.
Yeah. And they've been Cody and Vince have been in constant contact since he left, basically. A lot of it was particulars with Dusty Rhodes, but they've been in contact relatively frequently for those years that he's been gone. So it is not while it seemed to be impossible at the time AEW was born, now it seems like that is the likely destination for Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be this is going to be a matter of it's not if he's going to be coming to WWE, it's when, right? Yeah. So the timing has to be right. Like, where do you want to put him in this surprise? Where is he going to get the biggest pop? I personally think having him as a big surprise at WrestleMania, maybe plug him in as part of a multi-man match, something, I think that has a lot more value. Even though the night after WrestleMania is notoriously known for having big surprises, that could also be a really good spot. But it just depends if you're going to do it on Raw or if you're going to do it on SmackDown. Traditionally, it's Raw, but SmackDown is the A show right now.
Yep.
What if, so the way things line up, you have SmackDown on Fridays, right? And they have that SmackDown the night before WrestleMania. To me, that just isn't the most ideal spot to jump into things.
No, I think you start a program in March that leads to a match at WrestleMania for Cody.
Yeah,
and so that means you got to bring him out soon. That means you got to bring him out within the next week or two.
March is in a few days.
Exactly.
Do they do that? So Revolution, the Revolution pay-per-view is on March 6th, right? Does AEW really try and drive that knife in and do that on March 4th? Do they do on SmackDown? Do they do it the night after? Well,
here's another thing, Kevin.
On March 7th on Raw.
Here's another thing, Kevin and Jeremy. I saw a report today, and I don't know how accurate this is, but there's some speculation that a possibility of Cody Rhodes showing up at Madison Square Garden. Bobby Lashley recently dropped out of the advertised matchups because of the shoulder injury. He's going to be out for 4 months. So that could be another potential
what are you
spot.
saying?
No way.
What, Jose? I'm sorry.
No way you would bring him back on a non-televised event, though.
Yes.
No way.
Are you telling me they're going to have Cody Rhodes come out? I think cameras will be there. They'll film stuff for social media. They always are.
They always are, yeah.
If WWE was going to do something...
Hey, they had a title change at an MSG show a few years ago. Remember that?
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
I don't think he's going to come in and win
I know
the
it
Universal
sounds idiotic.
Championship.
I know it sounds idiotic, but crazier shit has happened in WWE.
Yeah.
John Paul started saying we're all wrong. Cody Rhodes bought TNA.
Oh, TNA
Not
doesn't
Impact
exist,
Wrestling, just
so
bought TNA.
Yeah, that's kind of tough because they don't exist.
All right, guys, let's jump into our last segment of the show. And as we normally do on Friday afternoons, it is time for Freestyle Friday.
Hit the button.
You got it now. DJ Z would be proud.
Get your questions in, guys. As always, we're going to dive into your comments here for the next 5 minutes or so, just to answer your questions and comments about the whatever's on your mind. So go ahead and sound off right now. I'm going to scroll back if you guys want to look through those comments too, Jeremy and Kevin. But let's take a look here.
I'll start from new on down. You guys go back, and I'm going to do this
Okay.
one that just got posted. David Chisholm. What do y'all think of Ring of Honor's Hall of Fame? Man, it's almost the perfect class. Maybe a couple guys I think I'd love to add. Nigel McGuinness, especially a guy that held the title about 500 days, would be a good one to add. Off the top of my head, though, I mean, it's almost perfect. I think I don't, outside of Nigel, I really can't think of someone that might deserve this.
And it's almost like if you want to make your Ring of Honor has a great legacy. I think they're one of the more influential organizations of the last 20 years. But in this class, they got Briscoes, they got Bryan Danielson, they got CM Punk, all in one class.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tremendous class. I mean, I wasn't really, I didn't watch Ring of Honor back in the day, but I watched the video later on when I really got into the independent wrestling side of things. And yeah, man, I think this is the perfect first introductory class to the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame.
Now I know, Jeremy, they're going to do this on television, on their syndicated television show that airs across the country at various different times on Sinclair Broadcasting in early March. But we don't know if this is going to be filmed remotely or how this is going to be filmed as an event. Like, there's no destination event for this, correct?
I have no idea, really.
Yeah, so we just know they're doing this. We don't know how they're going to present it.
I mean, they very well could do what the Indie Hall of Fame did and air it on Fight Live for free.
True. But I think because they're a television company, it could be a different thing. They do have the Honor Club. They have their own like private streaming service. How many people stuck with them there after they went on hiatus? It isn't clear. Here we go. Stacy with here we go. Cody versus Edge. Teddy, you got this one up here. I want to step on you, Ted. Cody versus Edge. So Cody Rhodes goes to WWE. Is that a match you want to see? They've had singles matches on television before. I'm certain of that, but obviously this is a different circumstance.
Yeah, I think it's going to be AJ and Edge. I think that's pretty locked in. I would keep a close eye on a week from Monday if Rollins and KO do not win, and see if they implode, and then that could set the door for a Cody Rollins match possibly. Or I have a feeling my prediction of Cody or of Rollins and KO as a team into WrestleMania, I think they're going to win the titles on Monday, to be honest with you, and then feud with RK Bro. I think that's going to be your tag title match. I put Cody in a multi-man United States Championship match. I think that's a perfect fit for him at this point.
It almost writes itself, right? Just because of the Homelander gimmick. We talked about this a few days ago. So it just really writes itself.
American Nightmare. Yeah,
exactly. Joseph Austin watching this on Facebook. Bring up Braun or wait for Gable Steveson?
Who knows?
Braun is still green. Let's not forget that. Braun has less. It's in the teens how many professional wrestling matches he's had in his career. I think Braun is a year away. Gable Steveson, we got to wait for wrestling season. I think is about over. So the ball will get rolling on him a little sooner than later.
And he's supposed to go straight to Raw. He's not even going to.
He's drafted on Raw. On Raw. Yeah.
We got Apex Predator here on YouTube. What is the possibility of AEW buying Ring of Honor?
I mean, it's there. Could that be the game-changing announcement that Tony Khan has?
Are they selling?
Are they selling it? Is it? We've heard that they're on the table. You know that that Sinclair Broadcasting Group that owns Ring of Honor is open to the idea of, or at least open to the idea of selling the tape library. You know, initially we heard that, and then we heard no, they could sell the whole company, but the tape library for sure. Yeah, and that WWE would certainly want a lot of that tape library if they could get a hold of it. I'm not certain what the future of Ring of Honor is. You know, we do know that they have an event, WrestleMania week. They are doing a Supercard of Honor.
Yeah,
we haven't heard much announced for that show. We've heard more of this Hall of Fame stuff, which is them utilizing some relationships they already have with talent that is available to film something that's not wrestling.
I think only one match announced for it so far is just the Briscoes against a mystery team.
Yeah.
So
yes, and that'll be in Dallas WrestleMania week. It's the right time to do it. That's what they've done for 16, 17 years now. The right call. But what else can make up that card? We don't know. If All Elite Wrestling wanted to buy it, would that be smart for them? Would that be their territory too, basically? I think it could work. You have enough talent. in All Elite Wrestling, where you certainly could send them over there and have them do that. That would then put you into a new television agreement then too, if Sinclair wants to keep the show.
What if that's the major big announcement this Wednesday?
This leads to another question here. Stacey Biggs. Big Stacey Savage. Do you think AEW is getting a little talent heavy with all the WWE releases they're signing? I could see that on the surface. I don't know if that's exactly true, because here's the thing. This is the circumstance they created in the business, in the sense of offering competitive wages on a competitive platform where they're competing directly with the WWE brand. They've shown that they can compete with WWE. Can they compete with them head-to-head on Monday night or Friday night? I'm not certain of that. I don't think that's a position they want to be in after they already, went to head-to-head with NXT and had to burn a lot of gas and give away a lot of different things on free television that maybe you wouldn't want to give away. But
they still won every week but one.
Sure. But I think now it's a different show. Now it's like we actually get to tell our stories and give the payoff when we want to pay it off and different things like that. And it's still a very talented show. But you create this problem, this challenge, this circumstance of now everyone expects anyone who's not in WWE leaves to go there. But is that always the right thing for your company? Is that always the right thing for your roster? Exactly. Is that always the right guy or gal for your company as well?
Yeah, and it really irks me when it's always predetermined. Oh, he's AEW bound. Like, that's the first thing, and I always.
But that's the reaction. It's almost a good problem you've created for yourself. But the problem then is you have to either service that expectation now, or you have to start telling people like, no, like, we can't always bring everyone over. Like, now there's gonna be people just be like upset that Cesaro isn't on the show right now, right? Why isn't he showing up tonight? Or something like that. You have fans, they're going to have that. I'm not saying that's a widespread thing, but it's definitely an issue now where you've created this sense of expectation for all these different jumps and debuts. There's only so many of those guys you can present where the show doesn't feel like here's an alternative version of what they would be doing in WWE. You can't deny that, because you've seen these guys already on television, like half of them, right? So now what can we do with them that you haven't seen before? And we have to reestablish things, but we want to also get the rub of you already seeing them on television, but us doing something different. It's a real challenge you make for yourself. And then the fans want you to meet that challenge. So it's kind of hard. Or is it better to develop your talent in-house, like an MJF or a Darby or somebody like that?
Yeah, I think when especially now that AEW is now 3 years in, I think it's important for them to kind of grown their own identity and not rely so much on the free agents that have been featured so much in WWE, and concentrate on their guys like the MJFs and the Jungle Boys. Like, those guys, those are your pillars, right? You really want to build those pillars up. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to criticize AEW for signing, these former WWE guys, but you know what? These guys got to work, and they're going to have a job. So I think I'm okay with it. I don't mind it, because you know what? Like, for example, Keith Lee. Now I get to see Keith Lee on TV again, so I'm excited about that.
Get to see Buddy Matthews on television again.
Exactly.
And you're gonna watch him butt heads with Powerhouse Hobbs at Revolution, man. That's gonna be. They're gonna stare down.
Men slapping meat.
They're gonna have a stare down, and the crowd is gonna pop for it, man. I can't wait.
Jeremy, we got this comment here for you from Christopher Ryan Cooper. Jeremy needs to do a freestyle on Fridays.
See, here's the thing. I am not a freestyle rapper. I can't do it like Max Caster.
I can drop a beat, bro. I can beatbox.
Now, if I'm doing a song that's established,
you do karaoke. Are you one of the few people that can do like confidently good rap versions of karaoke songs, like karaoke rap songs?
Yeah, I've done Tupac. I've done.
I did Bad Bunny. I did Bad Bunny a few weeks
Bad
ago.
Bunny. You did Bad Bunny.
Yeah,
I did Booker T.
You and I are going to do some karaoke in Dallas? Is that what you're telling me, Jose?
Man, I wish I could
know what?
go.
It's funny. I went to this crazy. It's like years and years ago in Austin. I did go to this karaoke spot in downtown Austin, and everyone is huge over there. Like, I'm 6 feet tall, and everyone's like 6'2" to 6'2" and taller. It's ridiculous how everyone is so big over there.
Yeah, I have a wide range of karaoke. I do classic rock. I can do rap. I can do, most of it is like 90s alternative is the majority of the shit I do.
Limp Bizkit's your shit, ain't it?
I've done My Way a few times.
There was no pause there.
No, I did Limp Bizkit's My Way in a contest before. So
the thing is with karaoke, you have to pick a song that pops the room. And then you also have to nail the song. You know, like
Vanilla hook.
it's almost
You
like a
gotta get
Royal
that hook
Rumble where you have to have the, oh, wow, yeah, I know this one. I haven't heard it in a long time, but oh, wow, they're doing it. You know, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think you exactly have to be a good singer when you're doing karaoke unless you want to go for that. The worst, though, this is what number one karaoke thing that I don't like. And I like musical theater. Unless you're going to do a funny musical theater song, I don't want to hear Beauty and the Beast. I don't want to hear Let It Go.
Oh.
I don't want to hear a Disney princess song sang by somebody at a bar. Sorry, ladies. Like that stays on a high school talent show. All right.
There are a couple
That's
of
a
girls
conversation for another day.
There's a couple of girls that are regulars that do like some of the, like, not Disney, but maybe musical stuff, and they are good at it though.
Okay, but if you can crush it, good.
Yeah,
but if you can't crush it, don't touch it.
All right, boys.
So Kevin's going to pretty much have the Booker T reaction. Tell me she just did not sing that.
Oh man, I gotta bounce out, boys. I gotta head.
Well,
out.
you know what? It's time to wrap up, guys. But I did want to show I did want to show everyone that the viewers do want Booker T to kick you.
Come on.
Head.
No, guys, you don't. No, stop it. You don't want Booker T.
A lot of them, dude. A lot of them.
No, I have a very vulnerable, large back of head area. Okay,
Fives in the chat. Fives in the chat.
Toddler.
We got fives in this
guys.
chat.
I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Freestyle Friday. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing on our YouTube channel. We're well on our way to 30,000 subscribers. We thank you. We couldn't have done that without you. So continue to show the support by liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you want to listen to us in the audio platform, subscribe to our podcast. You can listen to us in any of the major platforms on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, wherever you get your podcast. You can check us out. We are charted in the top 100 in the United States. So we are right now. We're rolling with it. We're doing it. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Follow Kev. Kev, what you got? You got a comedy show tonight, don't you?
Yeah, I'm doing the Fallen Police Officers Memorial Fund benefit tonight on the south side of Chicago in the neighborhood where I grew up. So people who've never seen me do stand-up are going to be there judging. So I went to high school with you. You weren't funny, dude. So I'm going to have to deal with that. So that'll be fun. And
what makes you a funny boy now, huh,
yeah,
Kev?
March 3rd, I'll be at Reggie's Rock Room, which is pretty sweet. March 14th, I'll be at the Comedy Bar in Chicago. March 15th, I'll be playing the world-famous Zanies, which is really, really cool. So a lot of big shows coming up. And I'm trying to book some WrestleMania week shows in Dallas and Austin, Texas. If you guys know anyone, let me know. Like, if you guys know anyone who has a bar or something like that, I'm completely serious. Someone saying, was I on Shameless? No, there was somebody on Showtime Shameless that looks like me that people send me pictures of all the time. And I am from Chicago and know that is on Shameless.
And he's also not Sam Roberts.
And I'm also not Sam Roberts.
Yeah.
So anytime you see a bald dude with a beard, that doesn't mean I'm on television.
Exactly, for real. All right, guys. So that's it for tonight. Jeremy, what do you got going on?
Let's see. I'm going to a basketball game right now, and then gonna
go Huskers.
Gonna go drink and I'm gonna drink some scotch and some cigars tomorrow.
What?
Birthday, and then
what?
Karaoke on Sunday.
What?
All right. Sounds like a good weekend, son. I'm prepped up for the weekend myself. I'm ready to have some fun. You guys have fun. Stay safe. We love you. Thank you for the support. And remember, when you are watching wrestling, you have to do the most important thing, which is what, guys?
Enjoy wrestling. You have to enjoy wrestling. Yeah. Talk to them.
Let me talk to you.
See?
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!